Dear Sarah, don't we use the word happiness more than any other today? Happy music, happy vibes, happy marriage, happy children. Everything seems to narrow down to one question. But does it make you happy? As if it were the very quintessence of existence. See, I know the words I can't even pronounce properly sometimes. I have to admit, I'm hopelessly drawn to happy things. All I want is a comfortable life. At first I had some resistance. Well, not all things in life is about feelings, let alone the happy ones. But it's hard to resist when every reel you scroll, every conversation you have, circles back to it again. The happy narrative has a way of seeping into your bones. That pursuit of happiness affected not just my inner life, but my relationships as well. I started sorting people and moments into categories, good for me or bad for me. This person drains me. The situation is too hard. I can't face another conflict. Let me just stay in bed and build some farm. Aren't relationships supposed to be easy? This approach did not take me to wonderful places, because it inevitably brings disappointment and fear. Slowly, every relationship and activity I was engaged in reminded a broken picture I have carefully drawn earlier, because we all have our own very idea of happiness, because people are not perfect. Investing people and things with the task of making us happy has made me more stressed and disillusioned than before. I became terrified of making a life that's not happy. It feels burdensome to look at the people constantly analyzing their potential to make you happy. The low burning irritation bound to burst once boiling high enough became a normal state. I'm supposed to feel happy. Why am I not? The first ring of the warning bell came after meeting a wonderfully erudite and reflective lady. She was sharp, warm, and full of stories. I liked her. Despite all the loveliness, she had one flaw which tends to overshadow her whole existence and everyone else surrounding her. She desperately wanted to be happy, and nothing her husband did or anyone else was sufficient enough. The more I quietly observed her life, the more I saw myself. She was in her 50s, which kind of made things worse, and the thought of still being so restless and bitter a couple of decades from now, it made me cringe. Yet I wasn't ready to accept my melancholy as something that was beyond my control, and fighting it eventually have become. I dare to call it the biggest battle of my life, which I'm nowhere close to winning. The truth is, Sarah, we all think we know what will make us happy. Maybe it starts with that, and they lived happily ever after we heard before falling asleep. Everything from advertisements to romantic comedies and social media can give us a distorted keyhole into what happiness really looks like. We imagine happiness as an absence of negative emotions, a destination that's attached to certain people and things. If only we can find the right conditions, it can be ours, we think. With those rose-tinted version of what our lives could be, we forget there is limited evidence that we can really get there. And we spend so much time and effort wrestling with wind, losing something significant in the mundane of the days. Our careers, relationships, meals, cars, the books we read, the beds we sleep in, each weighed against how much pleasure it brings. And maybe, just maybe, we've been quietly handed a counterfeit. Somewhere along the way, our idea of happiness was traded for a postcard version. No bad days, no long nights of doubt, no blistered hands from hard work, just sunsets, breakfast in bed, Minimalistic and always tidy houses. Smiles. It's beautiful, of course, but it's not real. And it's not the larger part of reality, which often comes with rather tired eyes, messy kitchens, and the ache of loving someone enough to stay when it's hard. The real things, the things with weight, they don't always feel good. And what if there is reason for it? What if there's reason for the house we don't have yet? What if our parents' mistakes shaped us in a ways no self-help book could? What if the difficult partner, a child, a neighbor, is exactly who we need to stretch us, to make us known? And yes, it's hard. It hurts. But it must be worth it, as the evidence is stacking up. This obsession with happiness is making us miserable. It's not that happiness is bad. No, it's beautiful. But like laughter at the dinner table, it's best when it's not forced, not planned. A few years ago, researchers followed people who said they wanted either to be happy or to live a meaningful life. After just a few months, the happiness seekers felt drained, like they were drawn after something that kept moving away. The meaning seekers? They were still standing steady, even when life had thrown them a few storms. When you choose happiness alone, you get that lovely rush at first, but it can fade fast. Meaning doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it stays with you. A meaningful life isn't necessarily a picture-perfect one. I can never compare a sense of quiet fullness of finishing writing a chapter I wrestled with for months, of falling asleep after a long and honestly exhausting day with my son's warm hands on my chest with. Days where I just had to be simply faithful and working on things which are hard. The days of careless walks with coffee in my hands, rom-coms and Pinterest. One is a foundation, the other butterflies in a jar. Spoiler? They are gone quickly. Those butterflies are beautiful, and they're meant to be savored, yet they're fleeting. They are the sprinkles on the cake, the square of chocolate with our coffee, the song we danced to in the kitchen, that one special purchase we've been saving for. But indulging in them too often steals even their short-lived magic. And expecting them to carry the weight of our fulfillment isn't just unfair to ourselves. It's unfair to those small joyful things that were only ever meant to be enjoyed in moderation. Maybe that's because meaning isn't always comfortable. It asks things from us. Patience, resilience, courage. It's taking the smaller paycheck to do work you believe in. It's choosing a friend who calls you to grow, not just one who makes you laugh. It's wrestling with a new skill instead of scrolling for an easy distraction. It's the kind of love that outlives the rush of first sight. The way Paul Newman stayed faithful to Jane Woodward for 50 years, saying, "I have steak at home, why go out for hamburger?" The truth is, meaning will sometimes hurt you, but it will also hold you. Happiness alone is lighter. It can be blown away by one bad week, one piece of bad news. Meaning anchors you when happiness takes a holiday. Viktor Frankl said once, "What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him." And I think about him, this man who lost almost everything in the camps, who saw the worst a human heart could do, and yet spent his life helping people to find meaning. For Frankl, joy was never about chasing a feeling, it was about having something worth living and even suffering for. We weren't made for comfort, we were made for purpose. And purpose often asks us to show up for the hard stuff, what people used to call greed once upon a time. He also said, happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue as an unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself. And maybe that's the whole thing, Sarah. Maybe we should stop trying to be happy. and make our life meaningful instead. Happiness will come and find us when we are not looking. And here's the relief. It's not about choosing between happiness and meaning. The best lives I've seen hold them both. Not perfectly balanced like on a scale, but with meaning as a foundation and happiness showing up as a beautiful side effect. It's less about chasing joy, more about letting joy follow you as you chase what matters. In a world that constantly tells us to pick what feels good now, the shift can feel radical. But I think that's where the magic lives, in the work that matters, in relationships that challenge us, in giving ourselves to something bigger than our own comfort. That's how you make a life that can stand, even when the wind changes. And as I said in the beginning, I'm nowhere close to win this battle, but you know what reminds me to change my focus? Is what I will leave after myself, is what my son will remember, is the words and actions. And while I do wish your kind to see, courage, dear heart. Until the next letter, with love, yours, S.